Good morning, friends, followers, channel members. It's Tuesday morning and oh my word, it's cold. It is in my office this morning here in the UK. Autumn has most certainly arrived. We are in Kastrup today, as you can see, Copenhagen, and we are going to be heading out of here, flying down to Geneva. We've got form in Geneva. We've got pylons that we made friends with, got a little bit too close with in the past. Thankfully, we now have some fantastic scenery from Red Wing Studios, which means that that pylon should no longer be there. Or it is, but it's most certainly a lot lower. So hopefully on the glide slope accurately, we won't bash one of our landing gears on it. One of the most comedic moments of the channel's history when it came to live streaming that. So good morning to everyone. A morning stream, yes, do please have us on at work, Dr. Magic, who's sneakily watching the stream at work. So good morning, Klaus. Good morning, Chalty. Hope you're well. Chalty, are you at work or do you have a day off today? Spitfire RAF 100 and Mascaran, KK Devinder and Christian Starmer FB, good morning. And you know, good morning to you as well. Ewan, you were on the stream, of course, last night when we had some issues. Let's hope that doesn't happen again today. Yeah, I'm hoping my office warms up with the GPU kicking the heat out how it normally does. That shouldn't be a problem. Mark, morning from a sunny Scarborough. Sunny in Scarborough on the east coast. I love Scarborough. I love the east coast. Go there quite regularly. And nice to know that it's sunny. And you're working from home, Mark. That is the perfect way to go. Keep us on in the background then, guys, and we are going to take you all the way, as I say, to Geneva. It's quite a nice lengthy flight, this one, about 1 hour 45 minutes flight time, so plenty of stream to enjoy this morning. That said, we're going to get straight in and start setting up because I've got a nursery school pickup in about what time? In about 3 hours time, so we probably need to crack on. In Junior, good morning from Norway. Hope you are well. Right, let's get rid of the stream starting text. We've obviously started, and let's get on board, shall we? So here we are with an absolutely appalling parking job last night. Whoever parked this aircraft up needs sacking, or the marshaller. I'm not sure who will blame. We are on VATSIM, so we do have I think we have got some ATC around. I don't know if there's any other aircraft around, but we do have ATC around. Nice to see. That's actually our departing runway there, runway 22 right, and the skies look rather foreboding, don't they, this morning. So two reasons I want to get away quickly. I want to push back, get departed. We're going to get set up nice and quickly. One is because we need to make sure I'm finished in time to pick up the kids from nursery, and two, because I've just made a cup of hot tea and I don't want it to go cold. Lewis Aviation, good morning. And Ewald van der Marzen, hello. You're also working from home as usual. You've not been in the office since last February. Wow. Right, so first of all, we need to have some power coming to the aircraft. So do we have a ground power unit? We've got a fire truck. I don't want that. Oh, there we go. GPU is getting connected. Sydney, you live in Perth, Australia, and the quickest flight to another city is 3 hours. Wow. That makes you realise just how small the UK actually is, doesn't it? It is so small compared to other places. So I'm just rattling on, doing the various flows. It is the first flight of the morning, so of course the aircraft is cold and dark. This is also a real world flight. It doesn't actually depart at this time in the real world, but it is a real world flight, so you can go ahead and check that if you wish. Start the APU. Let's do the APU fire test. There we go. And whilst we're up here, of course, engine 1 and engine 2. Herman Johnson, good morning from, or rather good evening to you if you're in Australia. That's one good thing about doing streams at this time of day. Our Australian viewers actually get to enjoy them, don't they? So that's quite neat. One thing I need to remember to do is we need to empty the payload of this aircraft, otherwise it doesn't work. So that's now gone down. Also defuel it as well, so it looks a little bit more realistic. There we go. So that's all done. Before we can get passengers loaded, of course, we need to get the APU running, thanks to COVID. 777, you've got the central heating on at home. I'm fighting my wife, so we don't have that on yet. Let's hold out. I am a Yorkshireman here in the UK, which means we don't like spending money frivolously. So if I can keep the heating off until Christmas, I'll be happy. Right, let's get the flight pad turned on as well. Get a little bit of weather. Just give that a sec. And do we have... oh, we do. I think we do have some ATC this morning. If they're still on for the next few minutes, that's going to be fine. That's good. So our QNH here is 101. Now, in fact, you know what? We can be a bit more realistic. We can get the printed QNH just here. There it is. There's our QNH. Oh, that's a bit strange. What's going on there? Why is it? Why is the radio changing? I want to make sure that this isn't working, or rather this is working. I'm not doing anything daft. Have we got some sort of pilot assist turned on? We've not had this for a while. Flight assistant, fuel, navlog. Let me see. Flight assistant, basic controls. No, not basic controls. I've not had this happen before. This is a bad start. Flight assistant. Oh, why is that? AI radio communications been turned on. I don't want an FO that doesn't know what they're doing. Basic controls and flight assistant, go away. Right, should we try that again? Good that we identified that nice and early in the stream anyway. There we are, right, so...
This is Castro Airport departure and arrival information Lima. Met report 0650 expect ILS approach visual approach on request arrival runway 22 left after landing vacate runway departure runway 22 right. Transition level 60. Wind 130 degrees 5 knots. Visibility more than 10 kilometers. Sky condition. Scattered 500 feet. Temperature 2.12 QNH 1019. Temporary sky condition. Broken 400 feet. If unable to follow, sit advice on initial contact. Squawk mode Charlie on pushback. This was Castro Airport departure and arrival information Lima.
That is amazing. How great it is to hear an audio ATIS. I've not heard that for so long. So that's great. Anyway, there's our QNH information. And funnily enough, information November was current on the text. Anyway, well, let's go ahead and set that up. So current QNH is 1019. Anti-skid is on. Let's come down to the center pedestal. We'll get on the standby frequency 1228, and then VHF is going to be 1215. VHF2, sorry, is 1215. Guard frequency. Make sure everything here is where it should be. Switching panel, thrust levers, engines, parking brake, etc. Get the transponder turned on. Let's just clear that to 2000. There we go. Up to the glare shield then, 1019. We'll get constraints turned on. We've not got the flight pan in yet, but that's okay. We'll get that brightness turned up. We'll turn the integral lights up there. I know that our initial climb clearance is going to be flight level 70, so we can go ahead and stick that on. So that's all done. Next we'll come down and we shall turn up the brightness of the main instrument panels. So let's have a look at that. Turn them up to full brightness. It is a daytime flight, of course. Apparently nozzle steam is disconnected. That's a bit strange. Why is that? Not quite sure. We haven't got. Have we got a tug driver there already? What's the tug driver doing? I bet this is all because of the daft ATC. Do you know what? I can use Pushback Express to get rid of that. How strange that that's happened. Has that ever happened to you guys? It must have in the past, I'm sure, because I've seen some people talking about it. So glad that's been solved. Anyway, now that's all been checked and sorted out. Let's go ahead and start getting some passengers on board. So self-loading cargo, let's get you sorted. Just import the flight route from SimBrief. Okay, let's say we're good to go. I think we've got stairs this morning. No jetway. Here they come. Good morning, Willie. Sorry, mate, didn't see you pop into the chat. Good morning, mate. I hope you're well. Thanks for stopping by. Okay, so operational flight plan today, we're going to take about a ton extra compared to the plug fuel, so that's going to be 8 tons of fuel. Let's get refueling underway. There it goes. The operational flight plan is pinned in the chat, so hopefully you guys can see that as well if you want to download it. So let's look then, as I say, at getting the box all set up. Scott, good morning. Callum Vibes, it's the AI talking to ATC for the tug, you guess. Yeah, it obviously happens in the background. We didn't hear it, but yeah. That's why it's always important to check the eCam as well. Speedbird Simulations, good morning on Twitch. Hope you're well. Right, so let's have a look at getting this set up. In fact, there's one thing I need to check. Just bear with me. Oh, I can't go back. Oh, that's annoying. It's annoying when that happens as well. Okay, well, never mind. I just want to check I got the right controls set up because why have we got speed brakes up? Were they there when I did the preliminary cockpit checks? I didn't think they were. Oh, all sorts bugging out this morning. Never mind. Anyway, init press. Let's carry on. So there's our information pulled in from the SimBrief servers. 1 hour 44 minutes flight time, Copenhagen to Geneva. Let's go to our AOC menu, weights and bounds page. Then let's get our OFP requested. We should have a payload today, according to the operational flight plan of 17576. That's correct. Zero fuel weight of 63.8. I believe that is 63.8. There it is. Right, well, let's just start the boarding process here for the aircraft. Glad that's done. HD, good morning, sir. How are you? Hope you're well. I didn't think of another question for you this morning on the dog walk. I've had a very rushed morning this morning. I'll tell you about that later when we're in cruise. Anyway, that's all done. So let's start setting this up properly. IRS aligning, aircraft status, LEAP engines, and valid Airac cycle. So, onto the Init A page. So, alternate is Zurich, flight number... Oh, I hate this one. What is it? Easy Swiss, so it's going to be Top Swiss. Get this. Top Swiss 84, as if Top Swiss isn't enough, but then they throw an X-ray in there. Top Swiss 84 Charlie X-ray is our flight number today. Cost index of 85380. Happy with the temperature, can leave that. The tropo is... that's pretty close. About 700 feet off, but we'll go in and edit it. There we are. So our flight plan. Planned departure 22 right on the Nexon 1 Charlie. And let that load, insert. And then we're planning the arrival into Geneva. And it is the Bennett 1 Romeo arrival. That is via Sierra Papa Romeo, isn't it? Oh, I've not got the charts up. Tell you this morning. Things going wrong. I'm pretty certain it's via Sierra Papa Romeo anyway. Pop that in. And insert. 1 hour 37 minutes on there. 651 miles. Operational flight plan is 654. So that's fine. HD, yeah, do a takeoff. You can do a performance first. You're guessing a flex of 69 to 70. Well, I've managed to. I forgot to tell you this. I think HD, I sorted the weight problem. You have to empty the payload of the aircraft, the default payload of the aircraft, before boarding passengers. Otherwise, they just add the two together, which is why we were getting daft numbers. So at least that's now been solved. Different page. We're going to pop in the Kilo Oscar Romeo into there. I'll explain why in a little bit, and we'll find out whether HD agrees with my thinking or not in a little while. So we've got that in there. We can also put the Castrop VOR in as well. Kilo Alpha Sierra. There we go. Onto init B. Let's have a look. So, 0 fuel weight. This all matches up now, 63.8, which is fine. Trip wind is a headwind of 35. And the fuel planning boys say 6.3. We are taking 8 tons when loaded. So let's get that in. Reason we're taking more is because I've already checked the weather, and whilst the weather shouldn't be an issue sort of at Geneva, anything like that, there's quite a few clouds over Europe today, also icing forecasted, so a bit of anti-ice may be required. That always burns extra fuel. Alternate is, let's call that 1.6. Extra flight time then of 36 minutes. Right, so I'm going to wait for HD to give us performance information, but a takeoff weight of 71.6. Yep, that sounds about right, because we've basically got about a ton of fuel extra today. So 71.6, that should be fine. So I'm just going to wait for HD, as I say, to give us the perf figures. And that's departing runway 22 right, of course. The transition altitude here is 5,000 feet. And thrust reduction acceleration is 1014. I'm happy to leave that. I just need to update the engine out acceleration. If I put 1014 in there, does it round it down to 10? Yeah, it does. There we go. So HD flex of 63, flaps 1, and that's via Alpha 3. Lovely. V1 150 150 151 150 150 151. A green dot clean speed 229. That seems rather high, doesn't it, for a takeoff weight of 71? Nothing I can do to change that, I'm afraid. That must be a fly-by-wire system. What does your magic tablet tell you, HD, about your what's your green dot speed for this configuration? Anyway, whilst we ponder that, let's look at chatting to ATC. Who are they still online? Yep, so it's going to be 119.8. Let's go over here and give them a call. And oh, all stations stand by 2 minutes. Right, okay. In that case, let's do a departure brief. So, oh, HD, is that what yours was? 229. Ah, right, okay. 229. Lovely. It's all accurate. I like it when things like that happen. Let's do a departure brief then. Now, according to the ATIS, the weather here isn't that great. We've even got a destination alternative nominated, which was Hamburg. But to be honest with you, here in the simulator, there's nothing here that says I couldn't get back here. There's two nice, great, big, long runways. So that's all right. And I'd say it's above Cat 1 minimums. I've even got blue sky over there. So yeah, weather here is okay. QNH 1019. Happy to return here if we need to. Bear in mind, of course, we are above the maximum landing weight, so we'd need to run overweight landing checklist before we did that, or burn off extra fuel if we came back. Aircraft, of course, the A320NX experimental version. Good flight management system, but sadly no TCAS, no weather radar, and no terrain radar. Would I actually be happy taking this to Geneva in the real world without a terrain radar? Answers on a postcard, please. No TAMs to be aware of. Well, yes, the Charlie Delta Alpha VOR here at Castrop, which we'd normally use for the engine out procedure, should anything go wrong and enter the hold there, is actually unserviceable. So instead, and this is what I was quickly chatting about earlier, instead I've opted to, if we do have an engine failure, we'll hold at the Kilo Oscar Romeo VOR, which is as we depart just up to the right of us. Hamburg HD, that was the destination alternate, as one was given to us today because the weather wasn't great here. Although, actually, in the simulator, it's not looking as bad as what the real world is giving. HD, need the CDA VOR because if we had an engine out, that would be our holding point. So, no times to be aware of. I think we've just gone through that for you. The Charlie Delta Alpha VOR is unserviceable. Threats to be aware of, actually not too many here in Copenhagen. The minimum safe altitude is 1,600 feet on our departure. Let's just bring that up, and that's our departure routing just there. No speed restrictions either, so nice and straight out departure. HD, why does the VOR need to work? I suppose no, it doesn't, does it? Because you can pop that in. Oh, there we go. ATC back. You can pop that in the flight plan page. However, here in the simulator, I'm not quite so sure that's as easy. Particularly as we can't fly holds here. So the only way I can sort of accurately fly a hold here is to find it on the map or fine tune it as a VOR and fly towards it. So of course, real world, it uses the FMGC database rather than the VOR, but I thought it was worth mentioning. Okay, so let's talk about how we're going to do the departure. In fact, you know, but before we do that, let's contact ATC because I want to make sure, of course, that everything that we've got programmed in is actually what ATC want us to do. So let's just lock the flight deck doors. Boarding is still underway. Let's give them a call, shall we? So, Castrop approach. Good morning. Top Swiss 84 Charlie X-ray. Stand Foxtrot 1 is Type A320 Neo requesting IFR clearance to Geneva as filed, and we have information November.
Good morning to Top Swiss 84 Charlie X-ray. Copenhagen. Information November is correct with QNH 1019 now. The clearance is to Geneva. Next 1 Charlie departure. Let's walk 1236.
Cleared via the NX and 1 Charlie departure, Squawk 1236, QNH 1019 at Top Swiss 84 Charlie X-ray.
84 Charlie X-ray, clear back.
Okay, so let's just get that popped in. The Squawk, which is 1, 2, 3, 6, 7,000 on there. That's fine. Next one Charlie is also in.
Good day, 1,000. Thanks for flying to Copenhagen. Hope to see you again. Good morning.
Constraints are on. Right, now we know we've got the right thing. Let's just talk about how we're going to do the taxi out. So we are at stand Foxtrot 1, which is over here. Let me get up the taxi, the parking chart, then we can see it a little better, can't we? There it is. So we're at Fox 1, we're going to push back, presumably we're going to be facing west on Whiskey. We'll then either take Romeo Sierra, I'm guessing, and then he'll either take us down maybe to Yankee, and then either Delta, Fox, to cross runway 30, and then via Delta or Alpha. We'll give him a call to see where he wants us to go. On departure then, as we've said, nice straight out departure, no speed restrictions. Nothing daft happening there. Nice RNAV departure. Get autopilot on nice and early. We just come off. ATC for a moment. The emergency brief. ATC is online, so if we have any problems on the ground during the taxi, we'll stop the aircraft and tell ATC. We can then try and solve the problem, run any ECAM drills as necessary, and basically as long as ATC know why that we've had to stop, that's the main thing. On departure, my takeoff. Any problems or warnings before 100 knots, then we'll have to consider stopping. But after 100 knots and up to V1, only stop for uninhibited ECAM warnings, cautions, engine fire failures, and that's with or without thrust loss, or if I think the aircraft is completely unsafe to fly. If that's the case, I make the decision to stop, then I will call stop clearly, go Mach traverse, keep the aircraft nice and straight on the runway, and use manual braking if I don't think auto brake is working as well as I think it should. If we've had a engine fire warning, I'll also attempt to point the aircraft into the wind. Once we've come to a stop, stow reversers, set the parking brakes, and then just take a deep breath for a moment, work out why we've stopped, check the ECAMs and any fault lights. Once we've established the cause then of the failure, then we can either complete the ECAM drills, ask ATC to vacate the runway, or of course if we've got something like an engine fire warning, something much more serious, then we'd need to consider running the evacuation checklist. Failure after V1, of course. Then you need to, we're committed, we have to get the aircraft into the air. If so, then we'll pitch up to a standard technique 12.5 degree pitch using rudder to counteract the yaw, following SRS, and then once the aircraft's got a positive rate of climb, we'll get the gear up, trim out the yaw. Once we're nicely trimmed, we can engage the autopilot. We can also go toga as well if we need to. It is a standard engine out procedure here, so we can pull the heading bug and continue on a nice straight line, and then once the engine is secured and we're above the engine acceleration altitude, we'll push the level off, accelerate, retract flaps, and then we can pull open climb, set maximum continuous thrust. Once we're at 1,600 feet, our published sort of engine out procedure is to head towards the Charlie Delta Alpha VOR. It's a left turn just there. Entry is 32 and it's right turn into the holes. Now because the Charlie Delta Alpha VOR was unserviceable, and that would be the fastest way for me to actually be able to find it in the simulator, because we can't sort of program holes and things. I've also got the Kilo Oscar Romeo VOR in there, so we would make a right turn to the Kilo Oscar Romeo VOR. Entry pattern there is 298 degrees, and that is right turns. Once we've of course got into our hold, then we shall decide what we're going to do. So whether we would continue return or divert. As I've already made the plan to go to the Kilo Oscar Romeo VOR, and I've got that in, I think I would continue to do that for the moment, but we'll also have the assistance of air traffic control online as well this morning, so that's quite nice. So that's our departure briefing all complete. I believe everybody is now on board as well. And HD, yeah, I'd seen that. Checking with the approach. It's the same frequency I think today, but yes, after so automatically frequency handoff.
Easyjet service. Please place your large bags into the overhead locker, wheels first, and keep your small items under the seat in front of you. These include laptops, handbags, duty-free and loose items of clothing. Once you have safely stowed your cabin bag, please take your seat. To help us ensure a prompt departure, we would kindly ask that you keep the aisle clear, enabling all remaining customers to board. Your seatbelt can now be fastened ready for departure. This is a no-smoking service. Thank you for observing this policy.
That's great, thank you.
Okay, I'm going to run the before start checklist. Just need to do a couple of things. 3.5 green, fuel, all nicely balanced. Let's just check down here as well, because there were a couple of things not working as expected, but that all looks okay just now. Alright, so check that overhead before start checklist. So cockpit preparation completed, signs on and auto. It is 3.5 green. Fuel quantity 7960 kilograms, balanced. FMGS is set and altimeter 1019. So we're just going to call the tug. normally I'd contact ATC first, but the tug does take a little moment to sort of get going, so I'm going to contact the tug first and then we'll contact ATC.
Cockpit to ground. This is ground. Stand by.
Cabin crew, we're all ready to go, so please arm the doors and cross-check. Thank you. So the ground crew is just doing a quick walk around, check all panels and things are closed, and then we'll be ready to go. Of course, we still need to run the before start check below the line.
Sir, the bypass pin is installed. All doors and hatches closed and all ground equipment is removed. The parking brakes are set. You may lift. Parking brake set. Lifting the aircraft.
Okay, let's give them a call now.
Standing by for pushback.
Customer approach, top Swiss 84 Charlie X-ray, stand Foxtrot 1 is ready for push and start.
Top Swiss 84 Charlie X-ray, push and start approved.
Push and start approve and confirm facing west.
84 Charlie X-ray, that is correct, facing west speed.
We'll go top Swiss 84 Charlie X-ray.
Shutdown 124 forward is at plan 60.
Information Oscar requesting clearance to Brussels South.
Go ahead. We are cleared for
Shutdown 1004, I think about. So descent plan level 60.
Cleared for push start. Please release parking brake.
I was at Ryanair 279 on November calling clearance.
Affirmative.
Before start checklist below the line, windows and doors are closed and armed, rotator beacon light is on, mobile phone is on silent and parking brake is on. We'll remove that and then we'll push back.
Okay, QNH 1018 cleared to Brussels South Ryanair next and 1 Charlie departure and squawk 1352 Ryanair 209 on November.
209 on November.
And we're cleared for engine starts, engine mode selector to start and starting engine 1. Willie, so I think HD's just answered that for you. Normally, well, you would do the before start below the line, before contacting the tug. In the simulator, though, I do contact the tug first, so they get in there.
On this aircraft. A safety card is in your seat pocket, showing the exit routes, oxygen masks.
I'm sure in the real world it doesn't take quite so long.
You must adopt if you hear brace.
And there's also 2 of you, which is a big help when you're trying to get things done.
And 2 at the front of the cabin. Floor lighting will guide you to an exit. Please be aware that your nearest exit may be behind you. In an emergency, leave all cabin baggage on board. Your seatbelt is fastened, adjusted, and released as shown. It must be fastened when the
HD, you're asking rhetorical questions there. I can see exactly what you're getting at.
If the air supply fails, masks will drop from above you. Pull a mask towards you to start the oxygen. Put the mask over your nose and mouth. Hold in place with the strap.
Is that building there in real life?
On each side to adjust. Put on your own mask before helping others. If we land on water, take the life jacket from under your seat. Put it over your head. Pass the tapes.
Starting engine 2.
Click together and pull the strap to adjust.
That's not a bad pushback, that one. Quite happy with that one.
When outside, inflate by pulling the toggle. If it fails to inflate or needs topping up, blow into the tube. There is a light and whistle for attracting attention. We also carry flotation aids for children. Your tray table must now be stowed, armrest down, window blinds open, and seatbelt fastened. We wish you a pleasant flight with Easyjet.
Thank you and goodbye.
So just waiting for a good engine start on number 2. Tug driver is off. Martin, good morning. No airport graphics mod for this one. Alex, good fellow, good morning, great to see you. If we could be away in the next 11 minutes or so, that would be grand. It better be runway 22 right for departure. That's where we're heading. Okay, while we're stationary, I like to do the flight control checks just here. Full left, full right, neutral, full up, full down, neutral, rudder, full right, rudder, full left. After engine start flows, engine mode selector to norm. APU bleed off, anti-ice not required, APU masters off. And let's get weather radars, predictive wind shear, etc. all turned on as well. Okay, pushback tug is clear. Let's get our taxi clearance. Top Swiss 84 Charlie X-ray is ready for taxi, and we can take Alpha 3 for departure.
Top Swiss 84 Charlie X-ray, radar. Taxi by Whiskey, Share, Victor and Bravo, hold short on runway 12.
Taxi via Whiskey Sierra, Victor, Bravo, hold short of 12 for Top Swiss 84 Charlie X-ray. Get those charts up, make sure we know where we are, where we're going. So we're on Whiskey, first left onto Sierra, right onto Victor, and then Bravo holding short 12. Right, know where we're going now, so let's get the rotating beacon lights on, the taxi lights on. Let's do the after start checks. Anti-ice is off, ecam status checked, pitch trim. I knew I'd forgot something. Pitch trim. Not that it would have mattered with this trim setting, but 23.2 is what we have, so that'll do. Anti-ice as required, ecam status checked, pitch trim 23.2 and rudder trim 0. Flaps weren't set either. After start flows were a mess there, weren't they?
Turn right heading 180 degrees, descend 2,000 feet.
On the right, 180 degrees. Please prepare to take off.
Okay, so down we go. Yeah, I didn't expect to be going down Bravo for that reason. There's always a car playing chicken with an aircraft, isn't there, in Microsoft Flight Simulator? Okay, so we're going left here on to Sierra, down at the bottom right onto Victor, and then immediately left on to Bravo. Okay, let's do our PEDS check. So, performance QNH 1019, no change to the performance calculations. Engine out procedure is standard, and 1600 feet is a turn to our holding point. Departure matches what we have in the FNGC, and our stop altitude is 7,000 feet. Von runway 1230 is closed.
Services 84 Charlie X-ray, course runway 30, takes by a mile for holding 2001.
Cross runway 30, continue on Bravo and confirm holding point, top Swiss 84 Charlie X-ray.
Holding point Echo 1, please.
Holding point Echo 1 for top Swiss 84 Charlie X-ray. So as this runway is closed, no need to bother getting the lights on, etc. as we cross. It's not an active runway. Before start checklist, before takeoff checklist, to the line. Flight controls are checked. Departure briefing is confirmed. Flap setting, config 1 is set. FMA and takeoff data. 150 blue, 151 magenta, climb nav blue, 1 FD2, 7000 blue, and flex 63. Transponder is set, eco memo, takeoff no blue, electronic flight bag is stowed.
Ryanair 209 November requesting push and start.
Ryanair 209 November, push and start.
So that's Bravo 5, we continue here,
209 November.
and then Echo 1 should be coming up on the right. Charlie, HD never has a day like I'm doing.
Charlie X-ray from Echo 1, cleared for takeoff, runway 22 right, 150 degrees, 6 knots.
Cleared for takeoff, 22 right, top space 84 Charlie X-ray. Yeah, HD never has a day like I'm doing because he doesn't have children throwing up. We've had that again last night.
Thank you, runway 22 left, cleared to left, 150 degrees, 6 knots.
Not last night, the night before, and I'm still recovering from it. So we've been cleared to line up. Let's tell self-loading cargo to go ahead and do that. We'll continue the roll onto the runway. As we do that, we'll get the lights on. Packs. TCAS and transponder. Before takeoff checklist below the line. Cabin is secured. Engine mode selector is normal. TCAS, TARA, packs off, anti-ice off. We're not in a rush here, there's no traffic around us. Let's just take that moment that we were speaking about. Just make sure we know where we are, what we're doing, and that everything is as it should be. Okay, so we're good to go. Engines have been running for about 8 minutes. Let's reset the chrono and take off. Ready, start the chrono, set 50% M1. Engine stable, takeoff thrust. Man flex, SRS and runway. This is going to feel like a long takeoff, but it's a nice long runway. B1, rotate. Nav.
All stations information Papa is now informed, no significant changes.
Top Space 84 Charlie X-ray passing 1100.
Top Space 84 Charlie X-ray, thank you. Radar contact, climb flight with 190, free speed.
1903 speed, Top Space 84 Charlie X-ray.
Green Tower 1004, welcome to Copenhagen. Please fly Bravo and Charlie, initially hold for runway 30.
Il y a Bravo Charlie, en distance de 30 à 1005.
So we've got thrust climb and flight level 190 selected. HD, I was thinking the same thing, but I wasn't going to say it. And flap 0. Spoilers disarmed. My tea's going cold. We'll get the anti-ice on as we bust through that cloud layer that we can see. It's a rather dull looking day here in Copenhagen, but all is good. Tell you what I didn't do, I'll do this in a second. Let's just check for discontinuities. I need to remember that they're now a thing. There we go. We normally have one between the SID and the flight route, but that's cleared out, and that's all good. Passing 5,000 feet, we'll ding the cabin.
By Whiskey, Sierra, Victor, and Bravo, hold short runway 30, Ryanair 209 over.
And yeah, when we've got lots to do like that, get the autopilot on. You know you can trust it now in the experimental version. Get the autopilot on. Frees you up to set the various modes that you want, and obviously chat with ATC and get the packs on. Coming up on 8,000 feet, everything looking good, and I imagine passengers are getting a beautiful view out of both windows. I love it when real world weather gives you these sort of multiple cloud layers.
Ladies and gentlemen, please keep your seatbelt fastened while the seatbelt sign is on. We recommend that you keep your seatbelt fastened whenever you are seated. Toilets are located at each end of the cabin. Remember that smoking is not permitted at any time. This includes e-cigarettes.
Coming up to 10,000 feet, let's get those lights off. Good morning, Wayne. Hope you're well. 10,000 feet, so we'll start to accelerate away. Turn those off, as sadly automatic tuning doesn't work. Von McLean, hi mate. 777, it's still warm in Vienna. HD, how long have you been waiting to say that on stream to Wayne? Over to Unicom, thanks very much for the service this morning. Top Space 84 Charlie X-ray. Bye bye.
Good morning.
And we're now on our own. Departure out of Copenhagen. Nice. Von, am I doing any evening streams anytime soon? Well, we tried last night, didn't we? And all went very, very wrong. Just as we got to the exciting bit. Michael Holland, good morning from a nippy mid-Cheshire. It's freezing this morning. So I have had a very rushed, busy morning, which probably goes some way to explaining why the flows right at the start on the ground were all over the place and rushed. And I equate this to the fact HD might be able to obviously help here, but if you're ever stuck in traffic and you know you guys, you rush into the airport and you think you're going to be late, etc, so you kind of set yourself in rush mode, and I think most of us do this in a morning, don't they? Or certainly pre-COVID, rushing to get through traffic to work, and you're rushing, you finally get to the place where you need to be, and then you should sit and calm down and relax, and off you go. But your brain is still in overload, your brain's still working at 100 miles an hour, rushing, because that's what you've been doing all morning, and it carries on into what you're doing, and you just need to take a minute just to say, well, hang on now, I'm done, we don't need to rush, we've finished all that, all of that. And as we know from experience, all of you know from experience in real life and here in this in the aircraft, that rushing can make mistakes. Yeah, so HD, fatigue, distraction and rushing is a recipe for disaster. Well, with no distractions this morning, I'm on my own, so with no distractions, but the other two, the fatigue and the rushing, oh yeah. You know who else is working from home watching this right now? Working in inverted commas, yes. Speed Alt Star. Let's continue our climb then. We'll set flight level 300. Just climb 300 blue. And we'll just check the progress page. We can go straight up just to flight level 380. So let's go ahead and set that. Flight level 380 set. 380 blue. Up we go. Van, you're watching from your office and work. What do all your co-workers think about that? Maybe they'll like it. Maybe they'll subscribe. Should look rather beautiful when we get through this cloud layer, shouldn't it? HD, he's passed us over to Unicom. We're on our own now, mate. You may have missed that, to be fair, but we left his airspace and he told us to move over, so we're on our own. Don't worry, we wouldn't do something that bad. Even though I'm tired, we wouldn't make that mistake. So yeah, Christian is right. We're on Unicom. That's got to be a very strange concept to you real guys, you pilots watching flight simulators, seeing Unicom. What? That doesn't exist in the real world, or rather, it does, but not for commercial airliners. We'll forgive you missing that one, HD. It's not a normal thing. Air Trooper 30 saying you'd never use VATSIM or anything like that because you haven't got a clue, and they'd swear at you. Air Trooper 30, I promise they wouldn't. They're actually really, really nice. And for anyone that's thinking about getting into VATSIM, a lot of people think VFR is the way to go to start and flight, but honestly, IFR is much easier. VFR, you need to remember a whole lot of airspace rules, and I'm incredibly rusty on stuff like that. James, when you're coming into land, do you always stay inside or go on the outside? Oh, inside. Definitely inside. HD, you missed your call sign out 5 times the other night coming home. Too busy looking out the window. You see, we love here on the channel hearing stuff like that because it makes all us amateur flight simmers feel so much better. Oh, it must have been a nice view outside the window. Better than what we've got right now. Just grey, dull skies. So the flight time today, what was it, about 1 hour 30 something minutes, decent length flight. So yeah, we've got a while to go, so that's nice. Now we can sit and chill. We're obviously just watching it through the climb, should have some nice views, but maybe some weather to avoid, as you can see. Wayne, we've already briefed this. Are we going to miss the pylon? The pylon's no longer there. Paris, thank you so much for following on Twitch. Really do appreciate that, and for the likes on Facebook as well. Eric, question if you may: when do you know how to enable anti-ice? Only when moving through cloud layers, or are there outside temperatures to consider? Okay, so Eric, you've half got it. Cloud layers are very important. If you're in visible moisture, in other words clouds, then that's your first step towards needing anti-ice. The other one is between these two range temperatures. So if your TAT is between +10 and the SAT -40, so +10 -40, anywhere in that range you need anti-ice. So as you can see, we're actually climbing higher. The SAT is getting lower and lower. Once it becomes below -40, well, then we can knock it off. Even though we're in a cloud layer, we can knock it off. Previs on Twitch, you plan to get on VATSIM, but you're a bit worried. Don't be worried. Just sit on the ground and listen for a while, and then make that first that call. Ask for a radio check. That's the way I think all of us started. Trouble 37, you've just re-downloaded the pushback, the toolbar pushback, and you've now got it in the right folder, so it's working. Excellent. So that anti-ice will be coming off pretty soon. Oh look, it's -40 now. I'll let it get to -41, then we can knock it off. I'm wondering how high these clouds go. It was on the weather charts. Wikistrom 777. This has the Airbus has automatic anti-ice for the probes, so you don't need to turn this one on. This one's automatic when the engines are running. When you're on the ground, it's not though. So if it's a freezing cold day, you might want that on. But now the SAT is below -40, -43, so we can get the anti-ice off just as we're starting to break through the cloud layer. Look. So that's quite neat. It says you used to sit on the ground for an hour, and when you made the radio check, you were shaking. We've all been there. We've all been there. Air Trooper 37, that's default ATC, isn't it? Yeah, that's why we don't like it. Von McLean, it's a learning curve. Ex-Air Force there, used to radios all the time, and you told the Bryce Norton Tower to go off, or words to that effect. Martin, does anti-ice reduce performance? I'm not too sure about performance. It certainly burns a little bit more fuel. It might affect performance a little bit, yes. In fact, it does affect performance a little bit, because you have to take that into account for your takeoff flex calculations, but not enough that you need to be worried about it. HD's about to boot someone out the chat again. Coming up to 31,000 feet, and there's that cloud layer. Don't know if you guys saw this right at the start of the stream. If you download the operational flight plan, you'll certainly have seen this. Let's just have a quick look down here. Yeah, so this is the weather that I was referring to. So we're kind of in a massive bubble of weather over Europe at the moment. Yeah, look at this. So we've got ice, turbulence, all to take into account. That's also why we loaded some extra fuel, because we thought anti-ice could be on for a little while. There could also be some things that we want to avoid. Dr. Magic, Manchester VATSIM, really supportive of your first flight. Manchester is always great. I love Manchester. We haven't been to Manchester for so long. I need to go back. Particularly as it's my local big international airport, so yeah. Von McLean, you worked on proper aircraft, C-17s and 330. Careful, you'll get booted. James, the detail in this sim is staggering. Oh, from a graphics point of view, certainly. And the detail of the aircraft comes from the amazing work that the Fly-by-Wire team do. So, apologies if you can hear me slurping my cup of tea. I need a lot of these today. Martin, what you really like is going down on an ILS approach. Going down to the minimums, then popping out of the clouds. How do I decide where to fly after Geneva? I haven't thought that far ahead. HD says you and he may get told where to fly. That does happen occasionally, right? James, what's my favourite airport to fly out of in the world? That's a good question for HD as well. HD, you should answer that. Where's your favourite airport to fly out of in the world? In the real world, of course. Here in the simulator, I honestly don't know. Anywhere where the SID is easy and I don't have to think. That pretty much like Copenhagen's was today. It was a nice straight out. You looked yesterday when pilots put Autopilot on and it says they put it on just after takeoff. Is that correct? That is correct. 100 feet off the ground or 5 seconds after takeoff. They're the sort of minimums for putting that on. Dr. Magic, you find Manchester a little bit confusing, particularly the right, now this is strange. The reason it's confusing is because the VIAs, the initial approach fixes, well, there isn't one really. The initial approach fix is miles away from the airport, and then Manchester ATC in the real world vector you in. The full published procedure flies you straight over Manchester Airport, the Manchester VOR, the Mike Charlie Tango, which is on the airport itself, and then you go out and make a teardrop approach. That never happens in the real world. I have never known that to happen. ATC pick you off, so all you got to do is just vector yourself in. HD, it's the airport on day 5 when you're heading home. Good answer. Wayne, is air traffic control the aviation equivalent of a wife? Well, I like that one. I'm not sure my wife would. HD, for views, Innsbruck is cool, yeah. Gibraltar is fun, like an aircraft carrier. Wickstrom, the river visual into DC is a favourite for me. I think he asked which is the most favourite runway to fly out of though, didn't he? Not land at. But even so, some great suggestions there. Mark, you had the pleasure of travelling on an Easyjet Neo for the first time, Manchester to Palma in August this year. Amazing aircraft. Couldn't believe how much quieter it seemed to be. Yeah. Do you know the quietest aircraft I've ever flown on? Surprisingly quiet. It was the A320. I've flown on 4 and I couldn't believe how quiet they were. There's some special mechanical engineering jiggery pokery goes into that. some unicorn magic that these engines are just... You can hardly hear them in the cabin. It's amazing. HD, the views out of Innsbruck. Oh yeah, I think I'd rather fly out of Innsbruck for the views than land in it. You've got to concentrate when landing in it. Trooper 37, you still have to land at Innsbruck. You've tried 2 attempts and you crashed into a mountain. We did a live tutorial flight into Innsbruck a few months back. Check that out on the channel, Air Trooper, and go with it. Lewis Aviation, you're currently at your team's football game watching them as you can't play because you're injured. Mate, you get injured a lot. James, the A380, great engineering, but now sadly getting rid. That is true. Third and Fam, thank you so much for subscribing. Really do appreciate that. Nice to see that big thick layer cloud now beneath us. HD, you can't say that. HC says Air Transat's A330s are pretty quiet over the Atlantic. I think that all depends on who's refueled them, doesn't it? Mark, you'd love a trip on one of those, the A380. Yeah, I don't know if I'll ever go on one again. I mean, the ones that are currently in use, like Emirates, which coincidentally they're the ones I've flown, they're the ones that I think are going to be around for a while. HD, yeah, you can say that, you don't work for them. True, true. Christian, has anyone ever flown in a 350? I've not. No. HD, oh, who's doing the fuel balancing checklist? Well, it's on there, isn't it? It's on the checklist I've got. Fuel quantity, how much have you got? And is it balanced? I always check the fuel on board. We already decided how much we were taking on today's flight. Plug fuel was, I think it was 7.2 and I've taken 8 tons. Wiltshire 777, no, the Transat was definitely, it definitely wasn't an A310, it was a newer aircraft than that. Wayne, how on earth do the galley staff get the mandatory bacon sarnies into the flight? Oh, Wayne, you've just... I'm hungry now. My wife made me throw a perfectly good pack of bacon away the other day. It was 5 days beyond its used by date, and I think that's the problem. Because it said used by on it, she wouldn't let me eat it. And it was sealed as well. There was nothing wrong with it. Well, I don't mind eating this. Nah, you can't eat that. You'll be ill. No, I promise I won't. You should see the stuff I cook her, but I don't tell her about. Lucky for me, she doesn't watch this channel. 187, you went from Dusseldorf to Singapore on a 350. It was very quiet too. You loved the service on board. I'd like to fly the 350. I would like to fly that. I'd like to fly here in the simulator. That'd be nice. Ewan, so what's happened to me this morning? I was just waiting till I get up to cruise. Give me another 200 feet. And then I'll tell you why my morning's been rather hectic. And Air Trooper 37, you're quite right. You can't beat a good bacon sandwich. Air Trooper 37, if Easyjet and Ryanair did do bacon sandwiches, just imagine how much they'd cost. Mac Alt Start and Alt Cruise. Okay, so this is a long leg of this flight, isn't it? We're about 20 miles away from Whiskey Romeo Bravo. Let's just cycle those SD pages. Does anyone else get this sort of glowing on the engine page? Martin, does the experimental have VNAV now? No, not yet. It'll come, but not yet. Island Control on Twitch, good morning. Yeah, we are top Swiss this morning. One hell of a call sign. Get your mouth around that. Top Swiss 84 Charlie X-ray. Cabin pressure is all good. Landing elevation, auto 1,144 feet for Geneva. Air Trooper 30, Ewan, just wait 200 feet. What a pilot thing to say. Alright. Co-pilot is alerting me to the fact that someone is at the door, so that's co-pilot George. I'll be back with you in 30 seconds. Let me go and calm the co-pilot down. I was hoping it was the cabin crew with my bacon sandwiches, but sadly not. It'll be the postman, but the postman is usually starts at the far end of the street, but that doesn't stop the first officer going off again. So when the postman eventually makes his way actually round to our house, then the first officer alarm will go off again. So the Warburg VOR, I expect to have about 5.2, 5.3 tons of fuel on board at that point. The glow looks more like a Knight Rider effect, Christian. Yeah. Notice as well that in the experimental version the airports don't actually populate on the navigation display. Never mind. I'm sure you can get bacon sandwiches delivered to your door, Wayne. Deliveroo or something like that. Requin 2, are we coming to Geneva? Do you live in Geneva? Oh, okay. Christian, every food is better than UK food. I mean, what actually is UK food? We eat Indians, we eat Chinese, we eat pizzas, so Italian, we eat pasta, Italian. We've only got fish and chips. I think that's our main dish, isn't it? Fish and chips and a Sunday roast. Which, by the way, Sunday roasts I love. Perverts crumpets. Crumpets? Are they English? "31 degrees, Air Trooper. It just doesn't get cold, does it, where you are?" Wilkshire 777, is this a recent experimental version? It's probably about a week or so old. I tend to update it once a week. Tridwin, when will I redo the tutorial? Do you mean the one that I started doing last night? Don't know. We're going to have to do it at some point, aren't we? Right, there we go. George alarm take 2. Back in a sec. There we go. Incidentally, HD, if your PTU ever sounds like my first officer, refuse to fly the aircraft and don't go anywhere on it because something isn't working. Christian, chips, we call it POMs. Yes, yes. Oh, what a beautiful day outside now, above the clouds. Lovely to see. So I don't know if we've got any more air traffic control on our way. I don't think we do at the moment. Wayne says brown sauce, red sauce, or no sauce at all. It has to be no sauce, Wayne. I don't like it. Well, no, I do. That's a lie. I like brown sauce. I like red sauce. But on a bacon sandwich, I like bacon. Bacon good. Don't ruin my bacon. So let's have a look at some en route weathers as well. Check out what's happening beneath us. Ewan, can I turn off the no smoking signs for a few minutes? I'm afraid not. They're sort of hard coded into the aircraft now. So where should we check out? Let's have a look then at we're gonna have a look at Hanover, Echo Delta Delta Victor. We can also have a look at Frankfurt, Echo Delta Delta Fox. We're just flying over your homeland, Christian, aren't we today? And let's pop in Zurich as well, which is our alternate today, which is Lima Sierra Zulu Hotel. To quote Donald Trump, why can't we just open a window on the aircraft? Is that the same as swallowing bleach to kill coronavirus? Ewan, yeah, no, Airbus do have them. No smoking signs are just on permanently. Unless you manually switch them off. The switch is up here. So you either have them off, auto, and on. Normally leave them in auto, which basically means they're on all the time. So what can we expect in Geneva? Weather 190 at 7, which is very 160230, that's okay. Great visibility, few clouds, 3,000 feet, 18 degrees. En route then we've got Hanover. Light winds, good visibility, that's open. Frankfurt, again good visibility, winds 200 at 10. And our alternate of Zurich, good visibility and light winds again. So there we go. HD, a few questions. Yeah, now's a good time. We're all done. We've done the en route. We've got the en route weathers, things like that. I'm just going to do a fuel check when we get to Whiskey Romeo Bravo. What did I say? I want to see about 5 point. Where's it gone? I want to see about 5.3 tons of fuel on board when we get there. So that's the only thing I'm monitoring really at the moment. So yeah. And with no ATC either to concentrate listening on, so a perfect time for questions. 868 Simulations, thank you so much for subscribing. Hope you've had a good day and enjoying the flight. Air Trooper 37, the smokers used to be at the back. Yeah, I downloaded an old Pan Am safety briefing cabin announcement a while back. And that said, smoking is not permitted when the no smoking signs are turned on. So obviously smoking was permitted back on Pan Am. So HD, why the takeoff alternate Hamburg selected? Where's the rest of the alternates on the flight plan? Let's have a look. So I'll be honest with you, SimBrief automatically gave us a takeoff alternate. I'm not 100% sure why it did that, because let's have a look. We know that the weather in the simulator wasn't the same as the actual METAR that was being given. So what was the departure airport? Apart from it being scattered at 500, temporary broken 400. I'm presuming that's why it gave an alternate, just because of the low visibility. We'll let you educate us, HD. I'm having to dive back into my memory banks. It was a while since we talked about this, because we had a departure alternate just there, didn't we, of Hamburg, which obviously had much better weather. So yeah, I didn't specifically choose a destination alternate, but SimBrief did. I'm presuming because of the low cloud. And this always makes sort of my this always makes me sort of sit up and think a little bit. Whenever you've got the low cloud, well, whenever you've got cloud at sort of 500 feet, 400 feet, but visibility is still great. So you've got 10 kilometers visibility, and yeah, so you've got 10 kilometers visibility, but you've got a very low cloud layer. So I know visibility is great, that's fine, but I've still got to get through that cloud layer. So when that starts to come down to sort of 500 feet, 400 feet, particularly in the simulator, I start to think, oh, am I actually going to be able to see those runway lights when we get there, or is there just going to be a big pile of cloud in front of it? Now, the minimums are what, Cat 1? Normally around 200 feet. So, would you start to, HD, just look at the cloud layer? If it said something like scattered 200, broken 200, that sort of thing, but visibility is fine, that's when you start to have a couple of alarm bells ringing, thinking, well, visibility might be good, but I've actually got to get down to it. That's when you're probably surely thinking there's a chance we may need to use some lower minimums. And I see a lot of the airport charts saying that low visibility procedures are enforced when obviously visibility drops to whatever, or the cloud base is at whatever. So yeah, HD, so it's 200 feet above Cat 1, so it's not low. So I think that's basically what we were just saying, is that you would start to think about it if it's below 200 feet. HD scattered or broken 200 feet would raise your eyebrows. 300 makes you think about it. 400 you don't care. Oh, there's a good rule of thumb to stick to.
Ladies and gentlemen, from the flight deck once again, just to let you know that we've reached our cruising altitude for today, and we are not anticipating any major delays or bad weather ahead, so we should be arriving on time as planned. The cabin crew will now start to make their way around the aircraft, so please make sure that the aisles are clear of any items you may have, and I invite you to sit back, relax, and enjoy the flight. A reminder that our Easyjetsimpilot members are able to take advantage of free drinks throughout the duration of the flight. Thank you, and we shall have an update for you shortly.
In just a few moments, we'll commence our in-flight service, offering you the chance to purchase a selection of hot beverages, together with drinks and snacks from the bar. We accept payment in pounds, euros, most major currencies, and debit or credit cards. The correct change would be greatly appreciated, and if we can be of any further assistance, then just ask us as we join you in the cabin shortly.
So HD is going off to check when the alternate has to actually be nominated, so he'll come back, I'm sure, with a definitive answer on that. Ian, if ATC published ceiling and or visibility below minimum an approach can be made, what about excessive crosswind? Right, okay Ian, let's just dissect that a little bit. So if the weather is below the approach that you're able to do, you're not allowed to start the approach. I do have a rather in-depth tutorial coming up about this, which I've started preparing, but I'm sure HD will testify. It's not an easy subject to wrap your head around, so I want to make sure that we explain it as simply as we can. When that tutorial comes out, grab yourself a drink and some paper, and maybe watch it 2 or 3 times. Crosswind, Ian, is a crosswind of 38 knots, but that has to be a true crosswind, so like a 90-degree crosswind of 38 knots, which I guess would be kind of rare. We've all seen YouTube videos of aircrafts doing very, very what look like hair-raising manoeuvres coming into land during excessive crosswinds. Requin02, do you plan only on SimBrief, or do you chart the route as well in Navigraph? So I usually use SimBrief, but then you can pull that into Navigraph and just to check a few things. Wilkstrom, does printing still cause a crash to desktop? I'm not willing to accept it because I think some people are still getting a crash to desktop. So yeah. Wayne, didn't I get the payware Geneva after the Swiss ambassador threw his toys out the pram? Yes, yes I did. HD, to be fair, is so what does it say? When meteorological conditions preclude a return to the departure airport, so you could take the cloud base into account. So that's fair enough, isn't it? Good morning, Dwyle. Hope you're well. Thanks for coming on board with us today. So let's check that fuel. What did I say? I want to see about 5.3. We've got 5.5, so that's 200 tons extra. To be fair, the taxi out wasn't that long. We didn't really have to hold or have any traffic, so that would make sense. So that seems to be working really nicely. Great stuff. And there's all that yucky, horrible weather beneath us. Thankfully, we'll pop out of the clouds at about 3,000 feet in Geneva, if that METAR is to be believed. So that's hopefully good to see. Does mean though you don't get great views as a passenger. That said, I love watching clouds from above in the real world. Microsoft Flight Simulator doesn't do a bad job either, but I just think there's something very strange about seeing the clouds from above. You get that 3D perspective that you don't get down on the ground. Well, good morning. You're late to the show as always, but you're now routed to the screen. Ah, excellent. Darren, you were planning a 700 departure from Liverpool to Split this morning. You was delayed until 8:30. Yeah, well, okay. I said I'd tell you about my morning. So this morning, for all intents and purposes, I had a lot to do. So the triplets are now in nursery for half days, which, well, for anyone that's got kids knows how difficult it is to get them up and ready in the morning, get them out the door and drop them off at nursery without them kicking off and screaming. Multiply that by 3 and you get some idea as to how my morning was. Sadly, my wife wasn't going to be around this morning because she had to go out very, very early. So it meant that as well as getting all the triplets ready to be bundled into the car for 7:45, it meant our eldest had to be up, ready, breakfast for school and come with us, because no one would be in the house with him whilst I went out to take the girls to the nursery. So we had to basically get all 4 kids ready for 7:45. The girls didn't require breakfast, but obviously the eldest did. So from the moment of getting up at about 6 AM, it was rush, rush, rush. Argue, 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 fight, teeth brush, pin them down, get them dressed, and they're still in nappies as well, so that adds to the fun. And they just backchat. I mean, they're not even 3 yet, but oh my god, when puberty hits, I need to move out. So yeah, we rushed. We then managed to get back just in time to make sure that my lad and I could take the first officer out for his morning constitutional. So we got the dog walk in, and then we rushed to get him to school for starting time. So literally from 6 AM this morning until sort of sitting down here in the simulator, my mind was just running at 100 miles an hour to get everything sorted, which is why I think we were still doing crazy stuff when we were on the ground in Copenhagen, and things didn't flow as well as they normally do. But I'm feeling a lot more chilled out now because we're here with you guys, and we're at 38,000 feet. All going well. Yeah, so that was how my morning went. I would ask you how your guys' morning went, but you're probably just going to say something like, got up, made a cup of tea, fired the laptop computer up, started work. Oh, I'm so jealous. Oh. He set up a sweatshop for the merch store when puberty hits, Cav. What is that, to fund my new flat that I need to move into? Wow, having kids always ends up like Stockholm Syndrome. Yes, but who befriends who? Requin02, you have triplets, how cool. All girls. All girls. So that's going to be fun, isn't it, in a few years' time? Mark, you have enough with one 9-year-old. You can't imagine having 4. I can't imagine having 4 9-year-olds. They're not there yet. Darren, it was a bit easier for you. You just slept until 7 AM. Oh, beautiful. You and your appreciators coming on today despite the madness. Wayne, you're quite right. I stopped having kids when I found out what was causing them. That better not be the nursery. We'll ignore that. Hey Christian, mate. Thanks for coming back. Matt, you haven't been to sleep. It's 5:20 AM there in the central USA. Why haven't you been to sleep? Why haven't you been to sleep? Dwyle, I am very outnumbered. And Wayne is quite right. I'm most certainly going to have to hide the makeup bag. Oh god, I've not even thought about the makeup costs as the girls get older. I'm not sure I can afford this. The amount of nappies we go through in a week. HD, you slept until your iPad dinged and said Easyjetsimpilot is streaming. Dwyle, that's true. At least I've got my own upcoming cabin crew. Who knows, maybe when they're old enough I'll get them on stream. My eldest is obsessed with aircraft. Not sure where he gets that from. See, I love it when the clouds are rendered like this. They look great. Matt, you're a night owl. You're on the graveyard shifts. Fair enough. That would be why. The problem is, all my upcoming cabin crew, Dwyle, have all got attitude. HD, you gotta love days off when the missus goes into the office. Oh yeah. I mean, as much as I love the kids, and obviously my wife, getting the house to yourself is so rare. And it's just pressure free, isn't it? I want a cup of tea, I'm going to make one. I don't do something someone disapproves of. Doesn't matter, they're not in. Mondays are actually, should be, my free days. Girls are in nursery all day. Wife's out all day. boys in school, so I should have 6 hours of free time. I really need to just sleep. We've had a lot of late nights recently, and one of the girls was ill at the start of the week, so that resulted in about 3.5–4 hours sleep. Added to that the last 3 years of sleep deprivation, and it only takes one bad night to really knock you out. Willie, the joys of having a shower at 3 PM. That's early, Willie. Ewan, how long until descent? You've got a while. You've got plenty of time. We are 51 minutes into the flight, and the OFP says we'll be on the ground in a little under an hour. Fingers crossed. Dwight, you're actually enjoying the clouds and the cloud layers. It was great coming out of Copenhagen. We've got a thin low cloud layer, then we obviously had the big cloud layer. But yeah, sadly, when I looked at the Sigma chart earlier before the flight, I thought, yeah, we're not going to see much of the ground today. And that's very true. Wayne, your missus dare not leave you unsupervised for long periods, as you tend to revert to a feral condition. Oh, right, well what I'm going to do is, we've got a while, I want to just check how our arrival's going to look, and then we'll have a think about how we're going to do it. Geneva obviously poses some issues, so our arrival begins at the waypoint Benot, and it's almost is a nice, lovely straight in arrival. If we can get a nice continuous descent, that would be lovely. So it's the Bennett. Are we on the 1 Romeo today? Which one's actually given us? The 1 Romeo, the Bennett 1 Romeo, which brings us from Bennett to Nemos, Vadir, and then Sierra Papa Romeo. So all that looks fine and dandy. Strangely enough, there's no constraints there, so we're just going to have to work that out ourselves. Of course, we have got minimum descents just here, and we want to be at, 4,200 feet at Sierra Papa Romeo. Just jump onto here. Right, okay, so that's the lowest, but we don't want to go down that low. Didn't think we wanted to be at 4,200 feet, not when Geneva is, what, is it 1,200 feet, something like that? So at Sierra Papa Romeo we want to be at 7,000 feet. 7,000 feet and a max speed of 210 knots. So with that we can begin to make a plan, really. So the Sierra Papa Romeo VOR, we're going to aim for 7,000 feet just there. And then we want to be, I want to be flaps 1 by Sierra Papa Romeo, because we've already got a couple of miles before realistically we're going to intercept the glide slope, where I want flaps 2 out for that. So let's talk this through from the start. We are at, what's our altitude? We're at 38. Let's have a look. We're at 38,000 feet, but I think actually we have a descent planned at some point. Oh no, we don't. Scrap that. That's just simply been weird. So we're at 38,000 feet, and we're going to start our descent. We've got a headwind. If we start our descent around about 105 miles away, that gives us time to slow down. So we'll start that descent 105 miles away from Sierra Papa Romeo. And we'll get down to 7,000 feet. Gives us a chance to slow down as well. At Sierra Papa Romeo, I want flaps 1 by that point. And then soon after, Sierra Papa Romeo will pull flaps 2. Hold a speed of 180 knots as we go down the glide slope. Nice 3-degree glide slope. Visibility at the moment well above 550 meters, so that'll be a Cat 1. The A320 has no problem with respect to those minimum climb gradients, so not an issue. And then once we've touched down on this lovely long runway, we'll vacate via Charlie or Delta. I don't think we're going to roll out as far as Echo. Let's have a look at the charts and see if there's any information regarding the taxi, shall we? So airport briefing, noise abatement, reverse thrust, APUs. Low visibility procedures, they're not going to be in force. Taxi procedures. Parking information. Pushback. Now, do you know what? The parking here at Geneva always scares me, because I look at the charts and think, which way do we actually point when we come in? Christopher Shaw, good morning, sir. Hope you're well. HD, a very short taxi, so we need that 3 minutes cooldown time as well, don't we? Descent should be planned as to maintain a clean configuration for as long as possible, considering safety and ATC requirements. We can't really go down the glide slope, can we? Going down the glide slope clean. Not sure that works. HD. I'm going to confer with my PM. We can't go down the glide slopes clean. That just doesn't work. Visual approach, we'll not be doing that. Runway 22 arriving from the south, won't be doing that. Nighttime operations, nope. We're not doing Cat 2-3 operations. Pilots reminded the rapid runway vacating enables ATC to apply closer spacing on final approach. Maximum runway utilisation. I think most airports say something similar to this. Runway 22 exit taxiways to be used whenever possible for parking stands on the south apron. Taxiway Delta or Echo. Taxiway Charlie shall not be used. So we'll not take Charlie. So Delta or Echo it is. I'd hope Delta was a possibility, but we'll see. So HD, my reliable PM here, and discussing that, yeah, so it won't work. We may be able to go down the slope in flap 1 at 180 knots if there's no tailwind, but any sign of tailwind, it has to be flap 2. So we're going to be vacating Delta or Echo. Let's just continue reading the information that had for us. All arriving aircraft shall expedite vacating the runway. When instructed by tower, contact the apron. Crew should aim to keep a reasonable speed until having passed the Cat 1 stop bar, and to stop only at the Cat 2-3 stop bar if no clearance to enter the outer taxiway has been received from the apron. Now, I don't know if ATC is online at the moment. I can double check, but I don't think it is. Oh, tower is online. So tower is online, which means ATIS is online, which is fine. Runway 22 is currently in use, so that's the plan. So HD suggests stands 125, 23, 21 or 27. We obviously have to adhere to whatever VATSIM wants us to do. And to be fair, VATSIM are really good. They usually get us pretty close to what the real world airlines use. So which stands are we looking at? 2.5 and 2.3. 125, 123, 121, 127. Oh, so we're basically around the 20 pillar terminal, whatever you want to call this gate. Yeah, and the way we enter this is always very, very strange to me. So presumably it's a straight in taxi on these lines. I mean, what always confuses me is how we actually taxi on these. And I know HD, we've had a word about this before. Satellite stand, that's the word I was looking for. Thank you, HD. It's the satellite terminal. Satellite terminal 20. So if we come in, let's say we're going to exit via Delta. So if we come in on Delta, we enter the outer taxiway and we get stand 127. Then presumably we're straight in at 127 and we hold that. Do we hold that there? Because we certainly don't twist around, do we? Glad we're looking at this early. HD can provide instructions on this because yeah, it just looks incredibly complicated, this chart. So I'm going to wait for HD to sort of do his best and type out these instructions. Right, so let's take 125 then for example. Taxiing in at a 45-degree angle, keeping the satellite to your left. Taxi on, taxi off. Well, so we'd actually come down the Delta and take this entry just here, is that right? So we'd taxi down there to 125. Presumably we wouldn't come in all the way around and then come up that way. That's not right, is it? I can see a diagram coming in pretty soon on my phone, which I'll be very welcome to see. Possibly a reason why FOs don't park the aircraft. HD's just said he's going to send me the picture. There we go. It is, to me, that just looks like a very overcomplicated picture. So 125, presumably we come down here and stop there. 127, do we come in and we would come down here and stop there. 121, come down here, stopping there. So basically 125, 127, 121 and 123 kind of had different entries to those stands. David, we won't be at gate 27, 26. I think they're for smaller aircraft. So we'll have a look at that. And to be fair, HD, I think they are going to actually park us on those stands. As I say, VATSIM are very, very good at getting you to where you where the real world aircraft do park. Okay. So we've got that. We've got that now. So yeah. So stand 125 is in that way, stopping here. Stand 123 is down, around, and in that way, stopping there. 121 is down, around this way, stopping here. And finally 127 is presumably down, around all the way and stopping there. What you wouldn't do, I'm guessing, is come down the outer, make a left turn here and then spin it round to 127 there. That wouldn't work. Darren, you would land here but not park there because it's too complicated. Well, that's why I've just gone to my PM, because I don't... first officers don't park, and that's why. Now, let me just check how far we are away from our top of descent from Sierra Papa Romeo. Well, I've popped that in. Nothing seems to be happening. Just checking we've not bugged the... just check we've not bugged the aircraft out. Let's try that again. Sierra Papa Romeo. Oh, there we go. So we've got about 8 miles to go. Some small break in the clouds, so that's quite nice to see.
In just a few moments, we'll commence our in-flight service, offering you the chance to purchase from our selection of fresh food available today. Full details can be found in your in-flight brochure. We accept payment in pounds, euros, most major currencies, and debit or credit cards. The correct change would be greatly appreciated, and if we can be of any further assistance, then just ask us as we join you in the cabin shortly.
Willie asks, honestly, who designs parking like this? Somebody with a lot of spare yellow paint. Let's get the latest weather for Geneva. Dwight, the same people who do multiple roundabouts at Hemel. Well, we just have a abundance of traffic lights sometimes. Ah, right, okay, HD's just got us up a Google image picture. That makes sense. Now you can actually see where the stop lines are marked. Okay. Well, I feel slightly better armed now. Apostolis, you can track us on any VATSIM map, VAT static or anything like that? David, we're looking to landing on runway 22 because the star for 04 is very annoying. It's a big tour. I actually like runway 04. It's a little bit more of a challenge. I think we've only had to do that once. The one good thing about runway 04, there's no pylons. HD is ATC after all of that. We'll probably park us at the main terminal. Every time I've been to Geneva, I think they have parked us at that satellite stand, so we're well prepared. We've done our approach brief. We know how we want to do that. I'm just getting the latest weather information. We'll pop that into the perf page. So current wind is 240 at 5, so that's a nice headwind. Varying a little bit. The wind shouldn't ever get behind us though, looking at that, so that's okay. Fuel clouds at 3,000 feet, so we should have a good view. Scattered at 8,000 feet, so yeah, good view coming down on the approach. 19 degrees. QNH is 1024. So let's go ahead and pop all of that in. And the transition altitude in Geneva is 7,000 feet. Same as the platform altitude actually. And our decision altitude 1565. Yeah, 1565. So that's all set. ILS frequency, we'll check that as well, which is 108.7. Airport runway elevation, sorry, is 1365. And the missed approach altitude 7,000 feet. Max speed is 185 knots. So we'll do that as flaps 1. If we need to go missed approach, it's going to be flaps 1. HT, we could do a flap 3 landing. How many of you thought then I'd just had a crash to desktop? I hovered the mouse over something on the second screen and it minimised the simulator. Scares the hell out of me when I do that. As we're coming in then, minimum safe altitude is also 7,000 feet, thanks to the terrain to the north of us. Now, as only the tower is online, then we actually won't get any information regarding lining ourselves up and things like that. It's all down to us to sort that out. But just so I know what we're doing, let's just double check. It's runway 22 arrival, and it is the Bennett 1 Romeo. And I like to have stuff like that written down in front of me, because when I'm making calls on Unicom, I need to be able to quickly refer to that. So that's okay. That's all done. How close are we now to our decision, to our descent? About 40 miles or so. HD, let me look at that approach speeds again. Ah, wrong way round. My bad. Don't know why. I'm thinking of takeoffs. They swap them round, don't they? That's my fatigue coming in. No, we can't do it in flaps 1 because flaps 1 airspeed is 192. So we could do that at flaps. We could do that at flaps 2 then, can't we? Do that flaps 2. 148. If we fly that at 148, that's going to give us a nice good safety margin. HD, you had the same brain fart moment. Must be something in the air. Christian, we both need a vacation. So F speed will go flaps 3 in full, flaps 2 if doing flaps 3. Well, we'll go full, so we'll do it in flaps 3. nice and safe at 148 knots. So we should be on the ground now in a little over half an hour. Ewan, if you last till the end, which should be in about half an hour, 50 minutes time, this will be the first Flight Sim YouTuber video you've watched the whole thing. Oh, thank you, Ewan. Really, I appreciate that. We've kept you entertained for how long we've been live for? We've been live for 2 hours 7 minutes so far, so that's really great. I just hope I can last till the end. Oh, beautiful views. Okay. HD, the PM's asking for a quick brief on the go-around. So, we're going to be doing a flaps 3 landing. Let's just get the chart up to assist with this. So, the go-around, if we need to do that, before I brief this, we're going to get the Geneva VOR in there as well. So, one sec. We have to use raw data, of course, because the go-around track isn't there. Whilst I'm here, let's pop Sierra Papa Romeo into VOR 2. Flip both of those on. Okay, let's talk about the go-around then. So let's read this, then we'll brief how we perform it. So the initial climb clearance is 7,000 feet. We climb straight ahead on runway heading. And then at 9.5 miles, dear me, from the Geneva VOR, which we've got in VOR 1, we make a left turn, a maximum speed of 185 knots, with a minimum bank angle of 25 degrees. So we're going to be a little bit more aggressive than what you'd be used to if we had to do this. And then we intercept and follow the 038 Charlie Bravo Yankee radial to the Sierra Papa Romeo VOR. Now we can see this just here. So what I will do is, and we need to remember to do this because we have to use raw data. I can set this up in Nav 1 a little bit later on, which actually, hang on, let's just go back. I'll do this, then we'll brief how I'm going to approach the go-around if I have to do it. So let me put Geneva in here. And then Sierra Papa Romeo, I don't need for too long. So here's how I would do the go around. So coming down, and then if we need to go around, we'll call go around. We'll go toga thrust, go around flaps. That's going to be flaps 3. So toga thrust, go around flaps, positive rate of climb, check the FMAs, gear up, get that nose nice and high up, just like we would do for a takeoff, about 15.5, 17.5 degrees. We're then going to monitor the Geneva VOR distance, flying out on runway heading. So we'll fly out on runway heading. I will need to pull the speed bug because it's not going to do it automatically. I will pull the speed bug for 148 knots, and we'll maintain that at flaps 3. That's going to keep us nicely pitched up high as well, to get us climbing up and out the way. Once we are 9.5 miles out of Geneva, we are going to make that left turn with that minimum bank angle, and we will intercept the Charlie Bravo Yankee radial, is it 038 radial, which I will pop that in when we get closer to Sierra Papa Romeo, because I won't need that in VOR1. We'll have that on the navigation display to help me plan my rates of descent. So a few things that we just need to do raw data wise, because the aircraft doesn't do it automatically. things like VNav and the go around track. So I just need to be prepared for that. Once we're then up safely away, respecting those minimum constraints and minimum safe altitudes, we'll get ourselves nice and safely up to 7,000 feet, at which point we'll then look to clean the aircraft up. And we'll enter the hold. Max speed is going to be 210 knots, so we will enter the hold. We'll enter the hold with flaps 1 out. So that's it. Now obviously the big threat to this is we are in a bit of a valley, as you can see from the terrain all around us. So that's the big threat with this. We need to get down. Too much time briefing. To be fair, we're okay. Thrust idle, open descent, 070 set. Down we go.
Ladies and gentlemen, from the flight deck once again, you will be delighted to hear that we will shortly be starting our descent into our destination, at which point the cabin crew will start preparing for our arrival. If you could please make sure that all the aisles are clear and the cabin crew are able to make their way around the aircraft without any luggage in the aisles, that would be most appreciated. A reminder for our Easyjetsimpilot members that free drinks are still available from the cabin crew until the seatbelt signs are turned on. Please note, however, that the toilets will shortly go out of use. Thank you.
HD, would I do a full procedure going back to the Sierra Papa Romeo VOR, or start the second approach before then, considering fuel and other traffic? No ATC on board, no TCAS either. So we'd obviously have to listen out on Unicom as to whether we got any other traffic reporting their positions. And if we just bring that chart up, we did load. We loaded an extra ton of fuel, so I would be happy to go up there and sort of enter the hold, and then just come back around and make another approach. I don't mind doing that, but because I know I've got the fuel for it, and also it gives me personally time to reset and basically get back on top of things. So I'm just going to keep that speed up to help us with the descent, because we were a couple of miles, well, we were about 20 miles late in starting that top of descent, but we've got a nice headwind as well. So just need to get back down on the profile. We can see Sierra Papa Romeo VOR is keyed in just there. Just check the RadNav page actually, make sure we've got 1087. And as HD said, we could actually just point it back towards the Sierra Papa Romeo VOR using the needles. So I'm happy to leave the RadNav then as it is. HD, I was just reading that. My decision-making process is fun. As long as I'm on the ground in the next hour. Otherwise, I'm going to have an expensive bill from the nursery for not picking them up on time. I'll be... it's kind of like when an aircraft fuel bill hasn't been paid on the ground and the pilot goes around asking passengers for any spare change for the fuel bill. If you have enjoyed this daytime flight this morning and you haven't done so already, then please do give the stream a like, helps other people to find the channel. And of course you can also hit subscribe, turn on the notifications bell if you are new to us. HD workload management would probably be too high as well if we were trying to intercept and track another radio. Just easy to point back towards Sierra Papa Romeo. Yeah, in full agreement with that. Anything to decrease workload management. I need to wind this up and we need to get down. Might need to kill some fairies if we're not careful. If we need to kill them, we'll kill them. Got about 20,000 feet to lose. We're just we're at 56 miles to go, but I also need to slow the aircraft down as well. HD is already championing the fairy killing. We'll also look again at the anti-ice on as well as we head down. So, paranoia checks. We've got the weather and landing information. The FMGC is all set and coded. That looks all nicely aligned. Landing elevation is 1,365. We've done our arrival briefing. We can't turn on the terrain radar, sadly. It doesn't work. I'm going to get the standby instrument at 1024. Nice high pressure. HD only half speed brake as well. Yeah, you can't get full speed brake out. Why? Don't tell people. Why can't we get full speed brake out? Why can't we get full speed brake out? Anybody? So even if I pulled the speed brake all the way down to full, why would only half the speed brakes deploy at the moment? Answers on a postcard. Requin02, I think it's just because you're essentially just wasting fuel. HD's jumping up and down with his hand in the air. Slowly getting back on profile now. Ah, you guys are too good. Wickstrom 777 is there with it. Christian's got it. Darren, Autopilot. That's the one. It is the Autopilot. Only half speed brakes available when Autopilot is engaged. Getting down on profile now. SP, you hear that? Yeah, great streamer, V1 Simulations, real world pilot of course, talking about it all the time. Very strange though. Airbus logic. And I was just going to say, but HD's beat me to it as per usual. If you disconnect the autopilot, you can get the full speed brakes. Wickstrom 777, that's not bad for a Boeing guy. Wickstrom, I can't remember. I don't know if you told us before. You're professional type rated pilot. Obviously, if you are, don't say where you work or who you work for. I think you've said that before. Brian, is it simulated correctly on the outside view? I'm not sure. Patrick, you've got ATCs online, you jumped on the network and noticed that we're now flying to Geneva. You're in the tower. Excellent. Well, we knew the tower control was online, so we're going to be chatting to you very soon, Patrick. Oh, I love it when ATC's in the chat as well. Wickstrom 777, you're a 777 captain. Yeah, I thought you'd said that before. I can't remember if you were the guy HD banned for being a Boeing fan. That was a little bit of comedy the other day. Okay, we're nicely below the profile now, so I'm going to start just winding that speed back. We'll keep it at 270 knots for now. Ooh, managed to beat HD with the anti-ice. Wickstrom 777, was that you? Yeah, HD was slightly mortified afterwards. Whilst you'd been banned for however many minutes, he was mortified because he'd pressed the wrong button. Wickstrom, you have Airbus in past experience. Oh, well, you're the perfect person to ask them. Which do you prefer, Airbus or Boeing? Okay, so we're coming down. We're going to start getting all the cabin ready, and we're also going to get the lights on as well. Mark, thank you so much, and welcome to the First Officers Club, Mark. Really do appreciate that. Thank you for becoming a channel member. Thank you so much for that. Really do appreciate it. Look forward to seeing you on future flights. Approach checklist, minimum set both sides, engine mode selected to norm, and electronic flight bag is stowed. Let's activate that approach phase. And we can begin slowing down as well to green dot. Max speed is also 210 knots, which we are allowed to set for this. So remember, I said I wanted flaps 1 out by this point. Let's get the lights on as well. And we'll also put the 1187 in the standby. So that's the tower frequency. The simulator is just frozen. Oh no, we're good. We're moving again. Oh, I hate it when that happens. So I'm going to set flaps 1 and we're going to slow the aircraft down. So flaps 1, speed checked. Flaps 1. We'll roll that back to 200 knots. We can get the anti-ice off. I think we're below there. If you look at that, we're pretty much on the localizer intercepting, so let's get that on nice and early. There we go, lock star. We may as well. Nice and safe, 24 miles out. We should almost be right on the glide slope as well, but just a little bit too far away to pick that up. So with that in mind, I'm going to slow the aircraft down 180 knots. I just want to continue that descent a little bit as well. And we'll get flaps 2 out. Flaps 2, speed checked. Flaps 2. We can just see the airport as well in the distance. Glide slope blue, and we've got glide slope star, "17 miles out." Glide slope captured. Cat 1, what am I missing? We've got autopilot water 2 engaged, auto thrust is working, we're now nicely on the ILS. Why have we not got Cat 3 dual showing? Thank you HD, you preempted my question.
Ladies and gentlemen, we will shortly be landing. Please ensure your cabin bag is safely stowed with your laptop inside. Your tray table must be stowed, armrest down, and window blind open. You now need to be seated with your seatbelt fastened, ready for landing. Please help us by handing in any rubbish, newspapers, or magazines.
There we go, Cat 3 dual.
The toilets are no longer in service.
We're ready for departure. No, different.
We'll let him give the departure, then we'll contact ATC.
Wind 210 degrees 14 knots, runway 22 clear for takeoff.
Runway 22 clear for takeoff, Shutdown 1
Geneva Tower, good morning, Top Swiss 84 Charlie X-ray, 13 miles established, runway 22.
Top Swiss 48 Charlie X-ray, Geneva Tower, bonjour. Continue approach, runway 22, wind 210 degrees 14 knots.
Continue approach, runway 22, Top Swiss 84 Charlie X-ray. From a visual aspect, this really is one of the nicest approaches for passengers, isn't it? Really cool. Flying over Geneva Lake, and obviously you then got terrain and hills at both sides. We're 11 miles out. We are in selected speed. Let's very quickly brief that go around again. So if we need to go around, it's going to be toga. Go around flaps. Pitch up for takeoff, 15, 17.5 degrees. FMAs, positive rate. Gear up. Pull the speed. 148 knots. Continue flaps 3. Left hand turn at 9.5 miles from Geneva, which is just here. And then back to Sierra Papa Romeo. Also as a reminder, as we vacate, we do not vacate on Charlie, Delta or Echo. Eight miles to go. We know there's a departure ahead of us. Slow that down to 160 knots. Oh yes, HD. Thank you. Remember to go back to the thrust climb after hitting the acceleration altitude. Radar altimeter alive.
Lufthansa 1058, monitor Unicom 122.8, goodbye. Unicom 122.8, thank you for your service, Platoon 1058, bye bye. Welcome, bye bye. Top Swiss 84 Charlie X-ray, wind 210 degrees, 14 knots, runway 22, clear to land.
Clear to land, runway 22, top Swiss 84 Charlie X-ray.
Flight attendants, please prepare for landing.
So just prior to that we put landing gear down, spoilers, etc. Flaps 3, speed checked. Flaps 3, manage speed. Flaps full. Landing checklist. Cabin is secured. Auto thrust, speed. Go around altitude 7000 set. ECAM memo, landing, no blue. Almost a straight on headwind as well. And that actually looks like a really beautiful approach. 1000 feet. Autopilot off. I have control. Problem is when the wind is calm, you haven't got an excuse for a bad landing.
Station calling radio 555.
Gorgeous approach, and not a pylon in sight.
Above. 200. Minimum.
Continue.
100. 50. 40. 30. 20. 10. 5.
And reverses. Speed brake's not showing. 70 knots, reverses off. I think that was Charlie, which we're not taking, and we're obviously going to take Delta.
Ladies and gentlemen, the cabin crew will shortly be leaving their seats to perform safety-related duties. However, we ask that you remain seated until the fasten seatbelt sign has been switched off. Portable electronic devices for messaging, calls or internet access may now be used. Please make sure that you take all your personal belongings with you, checking in the seat pocket, underneath the seat and in the overhead lockers.
Swiss 84 Charlie X-ray, welcome in Geneva.
Smoking is
Taxi
not
to
permitted
stand
until you reach a
08
designated
via
spot.
link 4 inner.
On behalf of the captain and the crew, it has been our pleasure looking after you today. Our ground
Stand
crew will
08
help you
via
complete your
link
EasyJet journey.
4
For the
and
latest
inner
news, promotions,
for Top
flight
Swiss
and
8 for
destination
Charlie
information,
X-ray.
check out our official Facebook page, Twitter or Easyjet app.
Okay, where the hell are we going? Link 4, so that is straight ahead, and we've actually got a nice easy taxi. Certainly without having to go to those satellite terminals.
Tower, good evening.
Makes it a lot easier.
For stand gate 71, Airbus A320 with information Golf QNH 150, request IFR to Istanbul Sabiha Gökçen Airport.
Sun Turk 9834 Geneva Tower, good afternoon. Unfortunately, I don't see you. I think you logged in as an observer. Can you disconnect as an observer?
Rogers, Sun Turk 9834 Rogers.
Just checking I'd retracted the spoilers. I thought I had. But there we go. So stand number 8 is one of these over here. We'll check that out in a second. See how we can see that.
Radio check again.
Yeah, actually it'd be nice to be able to sort of key that one ourselves, wouldn't it? All the others work out really nice because I choose when they play. That one, I don't. This is not default scenery. The scenery that you can see here is from Red Wing simulations. A really, really nice representation of Geneva. HD, yeah, can do. We'll take a little look at those satellite stands and we'll have a look overhead, see what they're like. We can see the Scandinavian just parked at one of the satellite stands there on the right.
VATSIM in radio 555. I can't even see radio 555 192.
Sun Turk 9834 radio 555 means I hear you very well, so I hear you very well and there's no problem with the radio, but just disconnect from observer. I think you're in observer mode and so you're not on the ground.
I did. Okay, I'm gonna try again. Sun Turk 9834.
HD, yeah, we noticed Tenerife was a lot, and Malaga. Never realised you went to Malaga so much. Oh look, Willie! There's a pylon. And Wayne, I know you're a fan of pylons as well. Now, do we have 320 markings on here? No aircraft markings, but hold it about there. We should be good. Parking brakes on. APU is on as well, so that's good. Get APU bleed on. Turn. Engine 1. Engine 2. Off. Seatbelt signs can also come off. Oh, hang on. Logbook. N1 below 10%. Beacon light off. Now, I don't think we've got any ground vehicles, so we can call those using the fly-by-wire tablet. If we go here, we can go external power, baggage, catering, and I believe there comes the jetway. Nice glass jetway. And if I have a look over here to the right now, there's all the ground vehicles. They've rushed into position.
Tower, can you see me? I'm gonna
External power can come on.
Santuk 9834.
Beautiful. Let's just come down, pop that to standby. There we go. Yeah, HD, I think we've had 3 minutes. We had a nice slow taxi in, didn't we, to make sure that that held. Oh, welcome to Geneva, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much for flying with Easyjet today. Hope you've enjoyed this morning's stream. To be fair, it's been really nice. A few brain fart moments first thing this morning, whilst I was still trying to calm down from an epic school run. Oh, drone camera, what's going on there? Let's just have a look at those satellite stands that we were talking about and check out the entries in. So actually, look, that using the Red Wing scenery is really nice. You can see the entry to stand 127 just there, and the stop lines for 127 just here. And if we come round, we can see 1, 2, 3 is just there with the stop markers just here. Actually, when you're looking at it in this sort of view, it's it actually makes a lot more sense, doesn't it? There's 121, which is where the Scandinavian is, and at those stop lines just there. I think it's just confusing because of you're not taxiing up to sort of a solid 90-degree angle to a terminal building. That's really nice. So yeah, and the SAS is parked properly just there. Great stuff. Right, guys, thank you so much for flying with us today. Really enjoyed your company. Great way to spend a Wednesday morning. Thank you so much to those of you who have watched the stream. Big thank you to those of you that have hit the like button. Really does help the channel. Of course, if you are brand new, please do hit subscribe and also turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any future content from us. Huge thanks to those that have donated and contributed to the stream's upkeep during the show today. And as always, a big thanks to the Easyjetsimpilot channel members for continually supporting the stream. And of course, finally, a huge thanks to HD, as always, on hand to correct any mishaps, be my second pair of eyes, my PM, and of course, answer your questions as well. Hugely grateful to HD for that. Thank you so much, everyone. There will not be a stream tonight. I need an early night. Thank you so much, guys. I look forward to seeing you very, very soon. Have a great Wednesday, everyone. Bye-bye.